Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Glad you could make it. I know nobody's here right now. I'm just talking. I've been told that I need to wait a little bit for people to come in, okay? Because when they do come in, I'm halfway through the conversation and they're trying to catch up. So hope you guys come on in and, you know, let it be known. Let your presence be felt. Thank you for coming in anyway. On this channel, we're dedicated to home improvement, guys, home improvement tool tutorials. You will be more handy than you ever were after watching the content on this channel. Okay, so don't miss out. Subscribe to Calibrate Tools and DIY channel today, right now. It is sponsored by Calibrate.com. That's on the shirt and it's right on the screen as well. And over there, we have some great products for you, some household tools that everybody needs, can't do without. And if I were you, I'd go over there, check it out. It'll be a great way to support the channel. Okay, guys? So how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a good week. You know, hope everybody had a good 3-day weekend. You were productive, did something with your family, enjoyed yourself, all of that. You know what I mean? I hope you guys did some of that, and glad you could make it today. I appreciate everybody coming onto the channel and supporting. Okay, so yeah, you know me, I like to jump right into it. I try to be patient, you know, wait for people to come in the chat and say hi. Let your presence be felt. Okay, say hi. Let me know you're here. Give me a shout out. All right. For those people that are watching right now, appreciate you. Appreciate you. Okay. So the title of this live is Blue Collar Politics. Blue Collar Politics. What do I mean by blue collar politics? Well, everybody knows that there's politics involved in just about every aspect of our lives, whether we want it to be involved or not. Even in your own household, there's politics, there's family politics, there's, you know, street politics, there's work politics. You know, there's all kinds of politics out there in the world. And as much as we don't want it to affect our lives because we think it's a bunch of BS, it's really not. It does affect our lives on a daily basis. Hey, Perry Good Likeness, how you doing? Yes, that's me. I'm the tool guy. I'm the tool guy. Actually, on TikTok, they call me the tool tutor. Okay, so you got to go check out my TikTok there. I should put the link in my description for my TikTok. So, but I'll take that, Perry Good Like. Nope. So yeah, politics is involved in just about every aspect of our lives, right? Whether we want it to be or not, right? There are people that hold positions of power, that pull the strings. They place themselves in those positions of power, whether it's an ego thing or whether they actually have a service mentality, meaning that they have a heart of service. Who knows why people get into politics, right? We would hope that they do have a heart of service when they get into politics because they do have access. They do have access to resources that can really help your community. Okay, not just the community, but your community as well. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, tool tutor, that's me on TikTok. All right. So yeah, knowing that when we look around and see what's going on in our cities and our communities, and you wonder why certain things are happening. You got to understand that, hey, a lot of times what you see happen is as a result of decisions that are being made by people, just like you and me, who happen to be in positions of power, right? In order to pull the strings to say yay or nay, or you know, according to the resources that they want to allocate to whoever they want to allocate, right? And we know that when it comes down to that kind of decision making, the almighty dollar is the king. Okay, king, if you want to call it that. So why do I talk about why do I title this Blue Collar Politics? Because I want to kind of dive into how politics affects, okay, what we see around us. I'm going to kind of focus on California right now. I'm going to focus on California and the housing crisis and what we see going on out here in California. I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed that homelessness is on the rise, right? I mean, where there weren't tents and homeless encampments, you see them everywhere now. That's a very unfortunate situation, and but it exists, okay? And it didn't exist. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. There are reasons why people are homeless. People come from all over the country just to come to California to set up camp. Some people want to be homeless. A lot of people don't, right? But because of certain economic restrictions, I should say, or because of certain things that you could not control, could not foresee. You couldn't foresee the pandemic happening, which had a lot to do with the homeless population exploding. You couldn't foresee maybe yourself losing a job. You couldn't foresee a lot of things happening where you lost your income, right? That stuff happens. I get it. But a lot of times it's because, to be honest, I mean, you have people in power that they can pull the strings and say, hey, look, we're going to construct more houses, right? We're gonna make more affordable housing out there, and but they don't do it. Why? Because they're fighting. They're fighting on levels that you don't even know they're fighting on, and that's where the unions come in, right? You got these unions out there, the building unions and stuff. They have a lot to do with it. A lot of times, people in these unions, these workers, they want to get paid. Okay, they want to get paid that union wage. They want to work around union workers, people like them. They don't want anybody just to come in there and take their spot. Okay, and they get upset about that. And because the unions are so big and powerful, and they do contribute to a lot of the political campaigns of these legislators and lawmakers, they keep them in office. Well, they have the ability to take them out of office if the lawmakers don't do what they say, and that's how politics is in the capitalist economy, right? And so, as a result of that, if you have people in the building trades not willing to budge because there's a certain concession that they're not getting in the on the floor of these legislative bodies, right? Things come to a standstill, right? So if you don't have anybody building the houses, all right, then you're gonna have a lot of people out of a place to live, right? So it's a supply and demand issue, right? The more supply you have, the less homelessness you would have, right? More people will be able to afford houses because prices will be, adequate for people to buy homes. Okay, so there's a lot going on there that you have to take a look at, right? And like I said, coupled with the pandemic and other factors, you have a gigantic homelessness crisis here in California. Okay, so it's sad to see, but there's a lot of factors that you got to consider. Let's look at some stats here when it comes to that. And by the way, chime in, tell me what you think about it, because I know driving around LA, if you're from LA, or if you're trying to buy a home in LA, or even if you're trying to rent in LA, it's pretty bad, right? I mean, compared to other states, right? Florida, Texas, where places like that where the building trades are thriving there, right? Their construction is booming. Places like that, it's cheaper to live there, right? Because the supply and demand is more leveled out. It's not lopsided here like in California. Okay. California has the highest rate of poverty of any state. You guys know that, 13.2%. And that's because of this housing shortage, right? Because of the housing shortage, you have these kinds of numbers, which are causing people to suffer out here or move out of California. Not to mention the tax rate that California throws at you, right? For businesses and just the regular, just other things, right? The cost of living is not the best here. A lot of people want to move here because it's a great place. You got the mountains, you got the oceans, you got the desert. You can go hiking, you can go skiing, you can go snowboarding, you can go swimming all in the same day if you want to, but they don't tell you about the cost of living. So you got to have your ducks in a row. You got to have your ducks in a row financially if you want to be able to survive out here. And if it's a one income household, don't expect to be living in the most affluent of areas, right? You got to live below your means sometimes just to enjoy what California has to offer. So so you have these unions, right? The pipe fitters unions, the bulldozing unions, the carpenters unions. You got all these unions fighting over labor standards, okay? Over union wages, right? They want this. That's why they worked all those years just to be able to demand a certain wage, right? I worked in the trucking industry for a long time, and I used to go in and out of the port of Los Angeles. And every couple of years, those longshoremen are fighting over fighting the companies who hire them, the unions, which the longshoremen belong to, are fighting the companies, and it comes to a standstill, right? They shut down the ports, they block them, and all that stuff. And so I don't know if it's ego, but it's like, okay, you're making tons of money already, but as a result of this infighting, everybody suffers, especially those on the lowest rung of the economic ladder, right? The people that are not who are making the least money, who have the least amount of resources to survive, always suffer the most. Okay, while these guys are fighting. So that's what's been happening for the last, I don't know, 5 years or so in California when it comes to the housing shortage. The unions have been trying to hash it out with the legislators about certain bills that have been passed. Okay, and everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie, and as a result, you have a stall of construction work. Okay, it's kind of come to an end. Not an end, but it's slowed down. Not a lot of houses are being built. Not a lot of affordable houses are being built. And that's what the fight's about. We know we need this stuff, but everybody wants a piece of the pie. Okay? Everybody wants a piece of the pie before they start building. And the builders and the developers, they have the leverage because they're the ones who do the building, right? And if they say, no, we don't want that, and this part of that, I don't like that bill that you're trying to pass, that's going to cut me out of this, well, I'm not building that, okay? And guess what? Guess who's going to suffer? People that need houses, not necessarily homeless, or people are going to be homeless, but people that want to buy a home, affordably, right? So the whole goal here is to have affordable housing and have the union members have them happy at the same time. Okay, so it's trying to juggle these two or three different entities and keep them all happy. Okay, and while they're doing all that juggling and fighting and taking years to come to some kind of resolution, then you got people out here struggling, right, trying to pay the rent, right, because supply and demand. Once again, the lower the supply, the higher the prices, right? So if your rent seems to be going up every year, well, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons, right? It's a housing shortage. Okay. My apps. Hey, my apps, how you doing? Man, you got to have a great hustle or just be balling. Yeah. Yeah. You got to, I mean, to have just one hustle out here, man, it can be kind of hard, bro. If you're trying to live a certain lifestyle, right? Or even if you're just trying to pay the bills, man, it's like one hustle. Either that one hustle has to be good, has to be paying you a decent amount of money, or you're gonna have to have 2 or 3 main hustles, right? I mean, it's simple as that. Right. So I agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that, man. But my whole point of this is saying that, the powers that be, right? The powers that be know what's going on, right? They're the ones sitting in their, big houses and taking their big paychecks or whatever they're getting, while everybody has to wait on them to decide what to do. I mean, is that fair? No, not necessarily, but based on the structure of a capitalist economy and a so-called democratic country, this is how it goes, right? You get into politics and you get to make those decisions, right? So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about all my Californians? Please chime in and let me know what you think. Driving around California and seeing what's going on. If you're trying to buy a home, or if you're looking for a place to rent, even, right? I mean, a single apartment is like crazy, $1,600 when it used to be maybe $1,000. It's crazy, right? The whole price gouging practice is alive and well in the real estate industry, right? And people are going to get what they can. People are going to get what they can, especially after when they pass those moratoriums during the pandemic. Landlords want to get their money back, and this is a renter's economy. This is a renter's economy, okay? Especially here in California, right? This is a renter's world, and they're gonna get their money back somehow, right? Let's see here. All right, so yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen where, like I said, in the trucking industry, going down to the ports of Los Angeles, and you know, every other, I don't know, every other year or so, you see the longshoremen out there picketing, right? Picketing for more money, more, right? And you, at that point, truckers have to just, they can't go inside, right? Sometimes they shut the ports down, whatever port that is, and you can't go inside, and that, you pretty much lose work then. You lose work then, okay? All because people are fighting on the top. So let that be a lesson, guys. Try not to be on the bottom. Whatever you're doing, try not to be on the bottom, because on the bottom you don't have power, right? You don't have power. So what does that translate to? What does that translate to? You don't necessarily have to work your way up in a corporate environment. That's great. I mean, if you are in a corporate environment and you work your way up to a certain level, that's great. But ownership. I always push ownership. Okay, that's one way of hedging against these kinds of things happening, right? You want to own something that generates income for yourself and for your family, that's not dependent on a lot of these so-called jobs that are out there. Okay, because anything can happen on the top level, and you will pay the price. Uh, Very Good Life Note says, my neighborhood studio, $1,800. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a studio apartment, guys, a single, 1,600, 1,800 bucks, and I'm sure in certain certain areas it's more than that, right? I think in the more affluent areas, a single would be like, I don't know, 2,000, 2,500 bucks for a single. It's crazy. Yeah, Mid Wilshire District in LA, 3,000 bucks. You need a side hustle that is economy proof. That's right. You need something that's not going to be subject to the whims and fancies of the political elite, right? And if you want to say the blue collar elite in the unions, right, who want to fight over that $5 or whatever they're trying to get, or whatever perks that they're fighting for, um, with the legislators and the lobbyists to get. Okay, and everything comes to a standstill. Then it's absolutely ridiculous. But at the end of the day, this is reality. This is what we have to deal with. So understanding that we have to do what everybody's been saying in the chat so far, right? We gotta have other things going on that are economy proof, right? That'll help us survive when these individuals or these entities make decisions without knowing that it's going to affect you, um, and your finances. The issue is corpse not passing earnings to employees, only executives. Yeah, that's as old as that whole practice is as old as time. In a capitalist economy, this is not a socialist economy. This is none of that. This is all you got to love capitalism for certain things that it provides, right? I mean, it provides you the opportunity to become very wealthy if you apply yourself in a capitalist economy, right? But the dark side of capitalism is what we're talking about right now. It creates a system where, yes, you have the ability to rise above your peers financially, right? And let's not even make it a comparison thing. But what is the cost of that, right? What is the cost of that? Okay, because people have egos, right? Human beings have egos, and when those egos are not stroked or satisfied, people get mad, right? And people throw temper tantrums, right? They throw temper tantrums all the time. These grown men and women in these in these high offices, and when like it's like a bull in a china shop, right? They throw these temper tantrums and everything breaks, and guess who pays the price? Those of us, okay, who are on the lower rungs of the economic ladder. We have to pay the price. That's just the physics. If you want to put it like that, that's the physics of capitalism. That is the issue. Companies keep more than what's necessary. Yeah, that's just how it is, right? Because companies themselves don't know when the stuff's going to hit the fan. So of course they're going to hoard. They're going to hoard as much as they can, right? They couldn't predict the pandemic either, right? I mean, probably some companies could. That's a whole nother conversation. But knowing how unstable and volatile it can be in a capitalist economy, depending on what happens, I guess it's their job to hoard money, right? To have enough reserves to weather the storm, or if not weather the storm, get out scot free with a bag of money, right? Enough for you to live on or start again. So can't really be mad at that. I mean, it's I hear you, right? Everybody wants to survive, but there is collateral damage out there, and the homelessness we see out here because of the housing shortage, which is a result of supply and demand, and like I said, it's a result of the infighting over affordable housing and who's going to get what, and the egos of the unions, the egos of the legislators who want to stay in office. All those egos have to be stroked, right? They have to be stroked, and some kind of concession has to be made at some point. But in the meantime, the collateral damage is, homelessness, poverty, stuff like that, and it's just how it is. It's probably better in other countries. I haven't really done the research on a lot of other countries. I know a lot of other countries have better. Well, if depends on your own opinion, they have better systems to accommodate these things. But hey, that's America, right? That's why everybody comes to America. That's why immigrants come here to make it, right? And unfortunately, a lot of a lot of immigrants they come here and they see, hey, I got to step on these people in order to get there, and it's just it's just a fight to the top, and it's a fight to the top. But for those of you who are in the know, you know that ownership is one of the best defenses, right? Against that, against being stepped on, right? Being stepped on and all of that stuff. You build your wealth, you own it, and you keep most of the money. Simple and plain, right? You keep most of the money and you invest it in things that's going to make you money, so you won't have to work so hard in your later years. All right. Okay. So let's see here. Let's look at some more. So it says California needs to build 180,000 new units of housing every year to meet demand. Even though the state's population has been slowly declining as of late, California is building about half that number. Okay. Why? What's going on? Like the builders, right? They want their cut. They want their cut, and the unions want their cut, right? That's what's going on, guys. Okay, that's what's going on. You have this infighting, you have this stalemate, and everybody has to wait, and everybody suffers in the meantime. Okay, so like I said, prices and rent, home prices and rents go up in times like this. Okay, that's just like I said, that's the workings of capitalism here, right in California, right in California, the land of the beaches, the mountains, and all that stuff. And you don't see the other side of it. Okay, so just be prepared. If you come into California, understand this is how it is. I hope you're coming with a way to make money, right? Because you have businesses leaving California, right? Because California is going to get their money. I mean, just like the government, they're going to get their money some kind of way, and the way they get it is through taxes. They tax you to death out here. Okay, they tax you to death. A lot of businesses have left California and headed to more amicable states when it comes to tax rates and all that stuff. And you can't really blame them, right? You can't really blame them. Yeah. So let's see. All right. What are you saying here, Perigo? Mental health facilities were closed in the early 2000s in an effort for the clients to seek smaller group housing. Interesting. Very interesting. I would say 75% of the unhoused are from mental health issues. Yeah, I would say that's that could be on point. I mean, and being homeless and dealing with financial issues could drive you crazy too. At sometimes it could even push you into having mental health issues. If you're not strong enough, right? But that's true. I mean, and it's a shame. Certain communities suffer from mental health issues. At least it seems, right? I don't have a bird's eye view. I haven't done research on the mental health, state of, the demographics of mental health out here. But Yeah, it's sad to see, like someone walking across the street talking to themselves, and they look like perfectly fine people, I mean, but something happened, right? And being out on the street doesn't help that. So you have not only people that are struggling to pay the rent and that can no longer pay the rent, but now they have a mental health issue that they're on the street, financially in trouble and mentally in trouble, and that's a really sad thing to see. Okay, I would say 75% of the unhoused are from mental health issues. Yeah. Mm. Seniors that lose their spouse immediately lose half of their fixed income due to new rules. Seniors that lose their spouse. Yeah, that's yeah. A lot of people, they're depending on their spouse, right? That income from their spouse to bridge the gap, right? And if they're elderly and they're, that's you know, you can foresee that ending at some point when one of the spouses passes away and leaves a vacuum to be filled that can't be filled, right? And it's just another reason that you see a lot of elderly out there too on the streets, right? And so yeah, there's a high need for affordable housing out here, man. It's a really high need. So if you're a tradesman watching this, California's in need, and it's in need, and I think they've come to some kind of resolution to appease the unions, appease the lawmakers, and appease the developers, the builders, right? Because I think at one point it was some kind of divide and conquer strategy going on to divide the unions, right? You had some unions go with one side, and then the other side of the union stick with that side. So they were kind of fighting. I think it was the carpenters union against the building and trade council out here. The carpenters union split and said, no, we're going to go over here because we want this. We think it's better. And I think because of all of that infighting and divide and conquer strategies, they had to come to some resolution to start building these affordable housing units out here, to get people housed, man, because it just this can't continue, right? It just cannot continue. You gotta come to some kind of resolution, right? This is not Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome out here, But you drive down some streets, that's what it looks like. Not too far from where I am, it looks like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. That street, I mean, just like it's crazy, tents everywhere. It's just not a good thing. But it is what it is, and you just have to hope for the best and just do what you can to help your own community out. Yeah, but it's unfortunately, Paragraph Life notes that you see a lot of seniors out here suffering or living pennies to pennies, right? Especially on fixed incomes um, because the spouse died, or maybe the spouse didn't leave him anything, or it's crazy. So you don't want to be in that position, guys. All right, because we are getting, as time goes on, we may find ourselves in that position, and we don't want that. So what do you do now? I know I talked a lot about the problem, but what are some of the solutions for yourself, right? We may not be able to affect these solutions on a macro level, right? Meaning on a larger scale. We're not politicians. Some people feel our vote doesn't count. You know, we've signed 1,000 petitions in the past and nothing has changed. We may feel that these political parties are all scams. Everybody's trying to scam each other. Certain communities have been. I really believe that certain communities have been scammed. But you got to wake up. You got to wake up. And what are you going to do about it for yourself, for your family, for your community? And there are certain things that you can do, right? You can do it regardless of the forces that are coming at you all the time, right? Regardless of those forces that seem to want to keep you in a certain position, it's your job to fight. It's your job to fight and figure out ways to come together, right? Because that's one weapon that they have, right? The fact that you're not united, the fact that you're, I don't, they use the term crabs in a barrel mentality, right? The fact that a lot of us have a crab in a barrel mentality. I'm going to get mine. You know what I mean? That's my mentality. Heard that in the song. That can't be your mentality, man. If you care about your kids, you care about their future. You gotta, we gotta drop that mentality. Okay, mentality. We have to think. We have to think unity. We have to get together because it's not going to change. It's not going to change if you don't change. If you don't do the things necessary. So all the beef and all this enmity and that you have against your brother over there because he seems to be doing better than you or for whatever reason, right? We got to squash that, right? Because the system, and I know I don't want to sound like a victim, but how can it be victimhood when you're just stating facts, right? How can that be victimhood when you're stating facts? It's not, right? It's just telling the truth, right? So it's our job, right? It's our job to realize the weapons that have been forged and wielded against us on an economic level, financial level, social level. It's our job to identify those weapons and who's wielding the weapons against us and fortify ourselves, right? Fortify ourselves in order to combat and defend ourselves and make offensive moves against those people, right? Against those entities, against those principalities, if you want to use the term. And I'm not saying violence or anything like that. I'm just saying, hey, get your house in order. Think about starting your businesses, circulate the dollar amongst your own people in your own community. Okay. That's what you have to do. Okay. Circulate the dollar in your own community. And I know a lot of us are saying, well, man, a lot of us aren't even working, but whatever dollar you have, don't just circulate it, right? Use it to build something. Communities that want to build, they pool their monies. They pool their monies together in an act of good faith, and they lift each other up, right? They say, okay, all of us are going to pool our money into this one pool, right? This we're going to pool it, and then this family over here is going to take some of the money, or take the money right here and go build, start a business or whatever. And once they get going, they're going to put money back into the pool, and the other family, right? You guys over there, you come in and you get the money and you go build. And that's how people build. That's how smart people build. They do it all over the world. And that's one way, right? One way to fly under the radar and build your community from a grassroots level. And, you know what I mean? Not have to worry about, am I going to get fired, or I was just this. Now you're building your own community. You're depending on your own people to hire you, okay, and circulate the dollar amongst your own people, your own community, okay. And that's not being exclusionary. Call it what you want. Everybody does it, okay. Everybody does it, right? And you have to learn how to build too, right? Yeah. One of the reasons I promote the trades is because I want my community to know how to build again, right? I want the men in my community to know how to go out there, get a piece of land, and build their own communities instead of depending on other communities to come in and build it for you. All right. You cannot really respect your own community, all right, if you can't build for yourself, right? And that's why I promote the trades. That's why I get on here and I teach people how to use tools and stuff like that. And I promote trade skills because I think it's the foundation. Okay, it's the foundation to be able to go out and get a piece of property and build on that property and own that property. Right, right. That's what it's all about. Okay, we can't just be floating around in society and not really have a place to call our own, community wise. It's I mean, you can't really have respect in this world if you don't own anything, if you don't have anything to call your own. So, and that's just how it is, right? You need a base of operations, right? You need a base of operations. Your children need to see that. They need to see, hey, my people know how to build, right? They know how to build, and they know how to educate me. Educate your own children, guys. Don't depend on this system to educate your children. They're just going to put a bunch of lies in their head. They're going to brainwash them. They're going to come out. They might come out with degrees and PhDs and all this stuff, but a lot of that stuff is going to be based on other people's history, right? Other people's claim to fame, right? And where's knowledge of self? where's knowledge of self? That's why a lot of us are lost today. We have these degrees and PhDs and all these, things to, give us some status in their world, right? Because we've been educated in their system. Okay, that's one of the problems right there. That's one of the problems right there. We don't educate our own children, and I kind of understand. Knowledge of self has been kind of stripped from us, right? But we can start. We can start by teaching our kids how to build. You know what I'm saying? How to build a home, how to fix things, how to use their hands. Become skilled in a certain trade, certified, right? Build the schools that we need to build for our children to come and learn and be educated by us, by those of us in our community who know the truth, right? And can educate our kids, right? So we can produce a stronger generation next time, right? We don't want to produce a weaker generation. I mean, come on. All we gotta do is look around right now and see the assault on the minds of our children with all the stuff going on today. It's an all-out assault, and some people say, oh no, it's just no. If you put a frog in water and you turn up the heat slowly, that frog will not feel itself dying because you're turning up the heat slowly, until it's dead, right? And that's what's going on. So we got to know how to identify the weapons that are formed against us on a daily basis and do something about it. Okay. So anyway, guys, thanks for coming on. I just wanted to kind of dive into my neck of the woods over here in the West Coast and what I see, and try to give some insight into the whole housing crisis and all that stuff, and how it ties into people in power and the infighting that goes on in these halls of power, these legislative halls, and even the halls of the blue collar world, the union halls, and all that stuff. These guys are up there, hashing it out, man. I need that dollar. I need the extra dollar. While Susie, or what I'm saying, Laquita's down the road trying to pay the rent. She can't. She's looking for an affordable home and she can't find it because nobody's building nothing. They're up there fighting about who's going to get what. So I'm sure that's not all there is to the story. But that's a little part of it. And hopefully you guys got something out of it. I'm still learning. I'm still doing research on this stuff. I like to know, I like to get out of my bubble and kind of get a bird's eye view of what's going on in the world and how it affects us, because it does affect us. It absolutely does. What these people do, it affects us. It affects us. Okay. Benjamin, hey, thank you. Appreciate it, Benjamin. Thanks for chiming in. Hey, Claudette, how you doing? Appreciate you coming on here and showing some love here. Yeah, I try to have my, make my lives more interactive, less formal, and kind of dive into subjects that, may be a little bit uncomfortable at times to some people. It's not to me. For my real tribe, they know where I'm coming from. But people that know me, they know where I'm coming from, and I'm on here to educate, and not just to be on YouTube. Okay, I could be doing a lot of other things, but this platform is providing me a way to, teach and educate on a wider scale, and that's why I'm on here, guys. So please support. Go to calibrate.com. It's on the shirt right here. It's right there on the screen as well. Where is that? Right there. Yeah, and check out some products we have for you guys. Okay, to help support the channel. Some good stuff. Don't forget to sign up for the email list as well. Every month, I send out an email newsletter giving you tips on home improvement, DIY, and all that good stuff. Okay, to keep you guys in the loop. And I appreciate everybody. Perry Life Notes, Claudette, Benjamin. Appreciate you guys coming on. Okay, and supporting. Thank you. Love you. See you next time.